Ready to go? Okay, well, thank you very much. My name is Philip McMaster. I'm also known as SustainaClaus, and welcome to the UN press conference for ConscienceLAND. I'll just put on the SustainaClaus jacket to do something different so that people take notice that there's really a change at this COP26. This is the final one. This is the one that we must make a difference in. So as you see here, ConscienceLAND has no borders. That's directly from this conference. Many people I've spoken to are really anxious. They're wondering how our leaders are going to actually make these decisions. I hear WWF talking about, 2050 and so on, but then again I hear my friend Greta Thunberg, who has also been part of ConscienceLAND by making Roger the reality rooster buck, 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 wake up to the reality. It seems funny, it seems like a joke, but it's not a joke. Really, we do have to pay attention. So in this press conference, it's a slightly different way of doing it, but I'm going to talk about a few things that we have been doing in ConscienceLAND in the pilgrimage to PromiseLAND. I think I'm going to take this down, if I may. The pilgrimage to PromiseLAND. And the PromiseLAND this time is Glasgow, Scotland. I met with the mayor just yesterday, I guess it was, and he welcomed us, all of us, to his city, and he really hopes as well that ConscienceLAND really permeates the conscience of what we're doing here in Scotland. So the first thing I'd like to mention, the three things that I will talk about is first the pilgrimage, second is the banner, the SDG NFT banner. Some of you may be familiar with what NFTs are, but NFTs seem to be some kind of a cryptocurrency fad thing, but in fact it's the digitization of information. And what we're doing is we're taking something that has been artwork, been taken around the world, and we're putting into a digital form. So I'll talk about that in a moment. And then finally we'll talk about, or maybe first we'll talk about, the promise and what we're saying in ConscienceLAND and what we're asking about. So if we could cue up that intro, that would be great. We had a very special person who some people here in Scotland will recognize. Where is the video? Yeah, so this is the SDG snowball that was, let's watch this. This is the SDG snowball. This gentleman in the kilt is German. His name is Arndt, and he walked inside this ball all the way from Germany to here over the last 3 months. It's quite an amazing thing. And now this promise ball, this ball has rolled along and collected the promises of people. And those promises are being displayed in ConscienceLAND and in the project promises. So here we go. We'll have our question to, we have sound?
Hi, my name is Jennifer Rear, and today I am filming for the BBC One show, so hopefully telling the story of art across the United Kingdom, and I've just had a go in a giant metal ball, and it was brilliant fun. Incredible engineering, beautifully made, and what an experience. A brilliant and very powerful message, so hopefully everyone will get to hear about it.
What do you think about the My Promise program?
I think it's so powerful, and I think everyone can do their bit and make their promise, and if everybody does that, we'll make a huge difference. It's as simple as that.
Can I ask you a very simple question?
Of course.
My name is SustainaClaus. I'm from ConscienceLAND. We're all from ConscienceLAND.
Absolutely.
Do you have a conscience?
Of course I have a conscience, and I think it's important everyone listens to their conscience.
And how can your conscience help us in the world and at COP26 to move forward and solve the SDGs?
I think everyone's conscience is telling them that they need to do something, to work harder, to make sure that the world is a more sustainable and friendly place for each other, for the children, for generations to come, but for us now, because climate change is real and happening at the moment. So important to work together, listen to your conscience, and make a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
So thank you, Jennifer.
Really, now I'm going to do a story on my
Yes, thank you. And that was the Promise Ball, and Art is the gentleman that rolled this to Glasgow. He's still here, and I encourage any media that is interested in a fantastic story, a real story, a story of courage, a story of effort, and a story of determination to make these promises come true. That's the man, and join us in ConscienceLAND for that. So what is the SDG? What are the SDGs? We know what they are. I don't need to repeat them to this crowd, but this is the SDGs as we see them in ConscienceLAND. Of course, number 8 is a bit problematic. There are a number of SDGs that are not about people. They're about corporations and nations. But interestingly, over the last 6 years, ConscienceLAND, and this character, SustainaClaus, has been at every COI, Conference of Youth, and every COP, Conference of Parties, which we're at right now, again, for the 6th time. Well, 26th time. Here is the banner, the Sdg Banner. There's actually, it's a very big banner. We were even thinking of putting it out front, but it's too big, right? We brought this to Everest Base Camp, and we brought a smaller one here to the summit of Mount Everest. This is bringing the SDGs and the concept and the conversation about how do we solve the world's problems. This is real. We brought this to major universities around the world, Oxford, Tsinghua University in Beijing, ETF in Switzerland, in Zurich, and so on and so on. All around the world, we brought it to educational institutions, we brought it to incredible places, and what we're trying to do is bring that SDG message and the solutions, which are local. They're not centralized from some central organization. We're bringing those solutions, and we're sharing those solutions with other communities around the world. So this Sdg banner is pretty special. You know, there's only one of them in the world, and you can probably see that the folds have been folded many times. When you spread it out, it's very unique looking. And this, if you're familiar with blockchain technology, this will be made into 40, possibly more, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which is like a piece of art. It's like a Mona Lisa brought into 40 squares, and this Mona Lisa can now be supported by a number of people who have ownership of those NFTs. But what we're doing is going beyond that. It's not just about owning a funny monkey or having an avatar that's special, or the first tweet of the Twitter tweets. That stuff is fun and so on, but it's meaningless. What we're doing in ConscienceLAND is meaningful. We need people to act. It's right on the SustainaClaus thing here. Act now. We have to act on these SDGs. So in ConscienceLAND, what we're doing, and this is you doing it, you're citizens of ConscienceLAND, what we're doing is we're using these SDG squares. We have the world mapped into 53 trillion 3 meter by 3 meter squares, and they are up for stewardship. They're not ownership. Nobody owns anything on the planet, but it's up for stewardship. And those taking care of those plots, we call them SDG plots, around the planet, even on the seas, even on the ice packs and so on. We have to look after the whole planet, not just selectively our homes and our communities. And that's a way that we can solve these SDGs. We can bring ourselves and our behaviors to bear on that. And how do we do that? Well, every Wednesday, this is what I encourage you, join us again through the conference every Wednesday for the past many COPs. We've had a Change Wednesday where we have this big banner, and we encourage you to come and take photographs and conversations on your solutions on the SDGs. And every Wednesday, every Change Wednesday, we do 3 things. You'll see this symbol a lot if you look up 3-finger W, for example, on our websites and so on. Look up SustainaClaus, look up ConscienceLAND, you'll find it. The three fingers signify the sustainability symbol. What are the tenets of sustainability? Society, environment, economy, in balance. 经济、社会、环境、天地人和. This is the international symbol of sustainability. It's not this. It's not, oh, well, I won't make that rude symbol with a single finger, but you know what I'm saying. It's not these other symbols. It's quite a unique thing. So you don't have to do it to be a citizen of ConscienceLAND, but we encourage you to think about how you can be part of the solution by simply asking the question that I asked Jennifer. Do you have a conscience? Think about it. The most people that I ask, do you have a conscience? They say, of course I do. Yeah, sure I have. Sure, I think I do, or I try. They say things like that. Well, that's great. As long as we're here at COP. This is the 11th hour and 59 minutes. We have to act from our conscience in ConscienceLAND. It doesn't matter where you are physically on the planet. Wherever your feet are planted, that's ConscienceLAND. Why? Because it's your conscience. It's your conscience, and you have whatever your belief system. You have a little devil over here, a little angel over here. You know, they're whispering in your ear what's convenient, what's easy. We have methods in ConscienceLAND. Change Wednesday, the Sdg Banner, the new NFT effort on the banner. All these things, some of them are technological, most of them are sociological. Smile, this is every Wednesday. Smile and make other people happy. Change something about yourself. So stop a bad habit, start a good habit. And number 3 is unplug. Unplug from your stuff and unplug from your phone for 3 hours on Wednesday evening and talk to your family and your friends face to face. These are not complicated things to do, but we don't do them because we've got so far off into carbon capture and technological efforts to mitigate problems that we are creating in our own behaviors and in our actions. And I'm not blaming individuals. It's not individuals. ConscienceLAND doesn't blame individuals. It engages individuals to have a conscience. So whatever your belief system, whatever nation you belong to, you don't belong to that nation. You belong to the universal consciousness which must work together to make this world better, build back sustainably, not build back better. Build back better just means more of the same. We have to build back sustainably if we build it back at all, actually. But we must go back to our communities. And I would like to take the last few moments to ask about questions and certainly any reaction that people might have, whether it's positive, negative, you think this is a crazy idea, you think it's something worth continuing. Do you have any questions? I can't really see because the lights are quite bright. Well, what I will point out is that last year in Davos, we were in Davos as well, where, you know, very sadly, the UN has made an agreement with the WEF to basically support the UN and get themselves in the seats of power in the UN, which is a big problem for us in the world. So last year, this is the koala rebel refugees. Koalas are much smaller than this. Their hands are tiny, but they were being burnt and bloodied in Australia during the firestorms and the fires in Australia. And we felt for the koala rebel refugees. We felt for them. They're animals, yes, they're not humans, but we see humans being in the same situation very shortly. So think about these things. Have a conscience. ConscienceLAND is fun, though. Peace +1. Join the fun. We can make this a great world. I dress up in silly costumes that say empathy, you know, empathy across the back. Why? That's what we need. Empathy. Doesn't matter what skin color you have, what language you speak, what religion you have. We're all planetary beings. We all live on the same planet. But the amount of fighting and restriction that even I've seen as walking into the UN here is something that we have to stop. So I want to make this completely pleasant, completely fun. What sort of time do we have? 10 minutes. 10 minutes, wow, that's fantastic. So it would be wonderful if some people would ask a few questions about ConscienceLAND. I know that some people have an interest in technology, in blockchain technology. And that's something that we're, embarking. We're looking for people to become involved. Of course, you'll benefit from whatever happens. Maybe nothing happens, but I think there's a good chance that something good will happen. It'll bring a lot of attention to the UN's SDGs, a lot of attention to the goals. Not for some accomplishment or certificate on a stage. No. For some engagement, real people. Of course, they're interested in the money aspect. But we're going to change that. We're going to say, sure, you can collect these NFTs, you can be a supporter, you can resell them, and so on. But actually, you, by engaging in this process, this blockchain technology, I don't know if you're familiar with blockchain technology. Anyone familiar with blockchain technology? One person? No. Okay, one person's familiar. Blockchain technology is immutable. It's decentralized, and it's distributed, right? So it's not centralized. No banks, no governments can stop it from happening. And that's what you want with the SDGs. You don't want banks stopping it. You don't want corporations stopping it. You don't want these things to be stopped. The elimination of poverty, the elimination of hunger. You don't want that to be stopped by the pharmaceutical companies. You want that to continue. And that's us that does that. We vote in our governments. We should control our governments. Our governments should serve us, not the other way around. Not the other way around. So blockchain technology has a lot of inherent properties that really, even governance, there's a lot of talk. Over the years I've been attending the COP here, and COI, there's a lot of talk about blockchain in governance. And it's good. I'm happy that people are talking about it. But what we're talking about in ConscienceLAND is the actual action. It's not sort of, I vote once a time and let it go. It's day to day, how are we being part of the solution? How are we solving the SDGs, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and the 18th goal, individual social responsibility. How do we solve that 17 plus 1, that 18th goal of the United Nations SDGs, which we tend to refer to as the ConscienceLAND SDGs, because we're really trying to make it part of the people's consciousness, that we have goals that we must solve. And it's a case of a declaration. There's the ConscienceLAND. You have to excuse the amateur-ishness of our presentation, but I hope you're listening to the words. You're not looking at the graphics. You're not looking at the ConscienceLAND written in marker pen, but you're reading the words. Declaration of Interdependence. Not independence. Nobody's independent. It's a declaration of interdependence. Grow up. Look at the nations. They're acting like teenagers. Fighting each other, dropping bombs on each other, hurting each other. Take ISR, that's individual social responsibility. Take individual social responsibility in your life. That's being a part of being an adult. Help others. Very basic. Help others. That's interdependence. Help others. Reciprocity. Love. L.O.V.E. Lifestyle of voluntary effort. This is the basis of love. Lifestyle of voluntary effort. You love voluntarily. You love what you do. You love your children. You love your family. You love your neighbors and friends. And yeah, let's leave it at that. The neighbors and friends. So, and stop the stupidity. And I have to suggest to you, there's a lot of stupidity going on. Really, a lot. And we're all puffing around in our our positions and so on, and saying we're so smart and so important and we have the solutions. But fundamentally, we don't. We're pretty stupid as human beings. We're ruining the nest in which we live. No other animal does this. It's stupid. And so that's part of ConscienceLAND. Let's stop the stupidity. Let's be citizens. There's no charge, so you don't have to pay any money. You don't have to sign any documents. There's no passport for it specifically, although there is one on the back of my laptop here. There is a passport, ConscienceLAND passport. The climate has no borders. There's no borders. There's no need for a passport. The climate has no borders. That's the official line of COP26. This is the real passport. It's in the mind. I hope the silence is because you're maybe thinking about the question, do you have a conscience? Or nervousness that maybe you don't have the answer, you're not sure if you actually act on your conscience or not. But during this conference, there's 2 weeks, join us on Wednesdays. We will have Change Wednesdays. We'll explain it. It'll be fun, and we'll make it fun for everyone. All right. So thank you so much, people. Hopefully, citizens of ConscienceLAND, join us every day, every way in ConscienceLAND. Thank you so much. Bye-bye from Roger the Reality Rooster and LCP, the low carbon panda. Thanks a lot, guys.